Alright guys, so I know a lot of stuff's been leaked here recently, especially with the merchandise with GameStop. I'm not going to really hang up on that, man. Of course, I think some of these symbols have been staring us in the face for a long time. The lion related to the Titan class, the snake with the hunter, and of course the phoenix with the warlock class. Somebody speculated it might be an eagle. I honestly think it's a phoenix. Could be completely wrong. Whatever the case may be, I wanted to hang up more on the concept art because that was the thing that was jumping out to me. This was concept art that was linked a long time ago, but it's something that I myself honestly look at and I consider, is Destiny 2 going to have a Holy Trinity present? Now, what is a Holy Trinity? If you play games like WoW, if you play games like, you know, Final Fantasy, Realm Reborn, pretty much any MMORPG, when it comes to PvE stuff, when it comes to dungeons and raids and instances, you normally always have to have a healer, a tank, and a DPS class in order to complete that raid. A lot of situations, man, requires that, and if you don't, it's just damn near impossible to complete. Now, D1 doesn't currently require that, right? You can go in there with all 6 hunters, all 6 titans, all 6 warlocks. Doesn't matter, man. As long as you have the weapons to do the DPS and you know the mechanics of the raid, that's it. You're good. You're mucho bueno. But D2, what are we going to have there, man? What is something that's going to really elaborate PvE for us there? Now, I'm basing this off of the concept art a little bit. That was leaked out a long time ago. But when I saw the hunter, man, that really jumped out to me. The hunter holding a spear. Now, what does that mean? Yes, he's holding a spear. But in my experience, I related that immediately to a Lancer class or a Dragoon class, okay? And that is normally a very heavily DPS class, which essentially fits the role of the Hunter, right? Hunter, the class that does the most DPS out of all of them, okay? Don't base this off of what we got currently now in D1, okay? I'm specifically speculating here whether or not D2 will have some separation when it comes to PvE events. Now, if you take the Titan and its appearance here with this concept art, he has a shield, right? Being, of course, the tank class, the class that's taking all the damage, which, of course, I thought was going to be the case with D1. Not necessarily so, but, of course, bubbles definitely help. But what if it took a different approach? Like I said, you have a tank class, something that you vitally need in order to stay alive, somebody that loads themselves out in vitality and strength, and something that keeps the raid team together behind him. And then, of course, I see the warlock, the wings behind him. Immediately makes me think of self-rest. Some class out there that can revive not only himself, but what if he can revive others on his fire team, keeping the group alive, keeping them healed, constantly keeping the Titan, the defender, the tank alive to consistently keep taking damage for the team. Moving as a unit throughout the dungeon and raid versus static areas in which you do DPS and work mechanics. Now, I'm not saying the raids now currently in D1 are not fun. I enjoy them. I definitely have a good time in them. But again, my background is more of an MMORPG background, and I do tend to speculate when I have photos such as these jump out at me. Now, does something like that even deserve to be present in Destiny? I would not mind, is my thoughts on it. I have played through a bunch of different games that, of course, had this approach in its in-game content, its raids, its dungeons. I enjoy them. I like being kind of having a specific role. And it's not just like, oh, I'm the DPS class. It's like oh, I'm the DPS class. If that ad comes out and he's out long enough and he gets close to my tank, he'll fuck him up in one hit. So I need to be, you know, on top of my job and get over there and kill him. Now, some of you are going to be like, well, that takes a lot of work, or that puts too much pressure, and with the way groups are in games, we'll never get through a raid. Again, guys, I like challenges, and if you don't know this by now, Wrath of the Machine was a fun raid, but it was kind of a joke of a challenge. Am I right? We kind of just burned through it within the first day. I mean, that raid was whooped on very quickly. And so giving roles, man, I like that. That gives people roles, and it also enables people to go into dungeons and all play a vital part of that entire experience. Raids, whatever you want to call it. But everyone plays a part in succeeding at it versus someone just kind of tagging along and staying alive pretty much. That's just my thoughts. I find myself sometimes snoozing when in certain raids, especially when it's just DPS. You know, I find myself just kind of yawning and falling asleep. this is something that would keep me more engaged, and I would definitely like to see this in Destiny 2. Guys, as always, thank you so much for coming and watching the video. If you enjoyed this, man, definitely hit that like button. And as always, I'll catch y'all later. Slap that like button like your mama told you right.